Do You Comma Here Often podcast, Episode 5. Book puns from the website Capitalize My Title. Read by me. The funniest book puns you'll ever read by Capitalize My Title from the Capitalize My Title website. Funny book puns. Did you hear that John Green got lost in Canada? Yeah, he was looking for Alaska. What did Mr. Darcy say to Elizabeth? I had the will of iron until you bent it. What do you call 2,000 mockingbirds? 2 kilo mockingbird. I started walking around without any shoes, and it sort of became a hobbit. Why did the kid always sit in his wardrobe when reading a book? Narnia business. Charlotte Bronte is such a breath of fresh air. What's the best book to read while eating breakfast? Much Ado About Muffin. Have you heard about Waldo? He went abroad and found himself. What's a comedian's favourite book? The Pun Also Rises. I saw a vampire in a snowstorm. It was very Wuthering Bites. Dystopian novels are so 1984. Library puns. To thine own shelf be true. What did the librarian say to someone who checked out over 100 books? Don't overdo it. Why did the librarian fall down? She was in the non-friction section. If you're feeling numb, head to the library. Libraries are good for circulation. I haven't been to the library in a while. How do we find the books? What dinosaur knows a lot of synonyms? A thesaurus. Hey girl, can I check you out? You have fine written all over you. What vegetables do librarians like? Quiet peas. Why was the library so tall? Because it had a lot of stories. Why did the burglar break into the library? He was afraid he'd get a long sentence. My apologies. Why didn't the burglar break into the library? He was afraid he'd get a long sentence. What's a librarian's favourite fruit? Lieberries. The junior librarian was reincarnated as a bookmark because he always knew his place. Why did the librarian retire? To start a new chapter in their life. Librarians work behind closed doors. How do librarians flirt? By asking for your call number. You may take beverages into the library, but please don't pour milk on the cereals. I asked the librarian if she knew any authors who wrote novels about dinosaurs. She said Triceratops. Why is the detective here? He wants a mystery. Author puns. Anyone who doesn't like The Lord of the Rings doesn't know what they're talking about. Don't invite John Milton to your game night. whenever he's around, there's a pair of dice lost. Never read Jane Austen? All you need is a little persuasion. Why did Shakespeare always write with a pen? Because pencils made him ask, to be or not to be. Judy, bloom where you're planted. So you were outside and then you saw a raven? Cool story, Poe. What makes Civil Disobedience such a great essay? Thorough editing. What was Socrates' favourite thing to mould? Play-Doh. I used to care, but Orwell, it doesn't really matter. You can make gold with alchemy. Just follow the Coelho brick road. How does Voltaire like his apples? Candied. Never read Fitzgerald? You gats be kidding me. Ernest Hemingway or The Highway? My favourite author is Esoteric. You've probably never heard of him. Strangers on a Twain. Writing puns. I'm going to interject here and say that I would hazard a guess that some of these only really work while reading them and seeing them written out. But here goes. Bad spelling makes me sick. Sick, as in S-I-C. Past, present, and future walked into a bar. It was tense. Why are writers always cold? Because they're surrounded by drafts. You can write poetry if you want, but I think it's best left to the pros. Metaphors be with you. Why do words and punctuation end up in court? To be sentenced. I started to write a book on cats, but writing on paper was so much easier. I don't date apostrophes anymore. The last one was so possessive. Why did the pregnant woman shout, couldn't, wouldn't, and shouldn't? She was having contractions. I've heard that you're having trouble with your time travel story. Maybe you should think outside of the clocks. Witches make the best editors because they always run a spell check. Practice safe text. Use commas. You need the right stuff to be an author. It's not for everyone. Write with a W. Double negatives are a no-no. 7 days without a pun makes 1 week. Did you hear about the author in jail? They put him in the writer's block. Couldn't get past his first sentence. My thesaurus was stolen. I'm at a complete loss for words. Reading puns. Why did the dog run after the book? He was chasing his tail. I'm reading a book about anti-gravity and I just can't put it down. It's so easy to get lost in a book about mazes. That book about Mount Everest had quite the cliffhanger. I don't loan out my books. Some say I'm shellfish. Interjection. that was a bad delivery on my behalf. My high school music teacher was really controversial. He always had his students read banned books. Why are ghosts always reading? They go through books so quickly. That book about Hans was a real page-turner. Why are books so afraid of their sequels? Because they always come after them. I really wanted to read that book about sinkholes, but my plans fell through. What's the best thing to read in the woods? Poetry. I wanted to read that book about electricity, but it's quite shocking. Why does an elephant use its trunk as a bookmark? So it knows where it stopped reading. Have you read a book about teleportation? It'll definitely take you places. My dog started eating my book, so I took the words right out of his mouth. Why did the Romanian stop reading for the night? To give his book a rest. Interjection. I like that one. Those were the funniest book puns you'll ever read by Capitalise My Title. First published May 23, 2022 on the website Capitalise My Title. And read by me.